Okay. Well, welcome back. Tonight, chaos reigned, and we got started way too late. So we're doing another impromptu version of Table Talks, which we meant to do last week anyway. So we're just gonna hang out for maybe an hour and a half, and see how it goes. So we haven't really had time to prepare questions, but does anybody have any burning questions, either for myself or for anyone else around the table? And everybody else can also post them. Where did we put them in last time? One of the chats.
I think we put it in greatest hits.
Yeah. If you guys have questions, you can just put them in greatest hits, and we'll track there.
Are you allowed to tell us anything about Dreadhold, or do you think we're going to go back there?
Oh my goodness. We're going to touch on Dreadhold so much at the end of campaign stuff. There is literally boatloads of missed things in Dreadhold. Dreadhold was estimated to be 2 to 3 sessions, and we got through it in 1. So if that tells you anything about the amount of content that was missed there, most of it.
My biggest question was how much of your own scenario did you destroy?
Oh goodness, all of it. Yeah. So for those who aren't aware, right out of the gate, so we did the first half of Dreadhold, or kind of the first portion of Dreadhold, where we got everyone in, and then we kind of left it right as Roland had depetrified the ship cleaver, and all I had up at that point was literally a name. Like, it was literally a name and kind of a very brief background. And then I built the character before I ever actually even built the stats for the guards. I built the ship cleaver. And I had kind of ideas for what I wanted the guards to do, but they actually got built after the ship cleaver did. And as I went back and kind of compared the eviscerator and the ship cleaver, because I did not build them in tandem, I was like, okay, these two seem to be a fairly comparable match for each other. Like, they are roughly have the same amount of HP, even with the barbarian stuff going on. They've got roughly the same amount of damage that they can do, and there should be a slight edge for the ship cleaver, and then Roland can kind of help out if need be to kind of make sure that this fight happens, but it'll essentially just open the way for Roland, and then the other guards will kind of finish off the ship cleaver, and it'll wrap up very nicely, and be a very small encapsulated way for Roland to just kind of have a little bit of fun. Obviously, that's not what happened. I rolled like 3 natural 20s for him right out of the gate, and he just destroyed the eviscerator before it ever got to even move. So you guys still don't know what the eviscerators even do.
No, you brought up these eviscerators, and one of them was destroyed, and we took over the other one before it attacked
So
us.
and that one wasn't even an eviscerator. So there were 2 Slaughterstone constructs. There was the eviscerators, and there was the behemoths. You guys saw 2 eviscerators. One of them, the party that went and got Vadim barely missed, with some crazy good rolls.
Put me on the flat of its blade and moved me out of the way. Yeah,
that was the same one. It like walked by because they are very, in this situation, it assumes certain things. And when there's not an emergency alert, it just kind of assumed you were another prisoner and just kind of slid you out of the way, because the prisoners are used to, or I guess the guards are used to interacting with the prisoners on a very high level. Because how the kind of effect works is that the prisoners rationalize anything that happens. And so even when you guys were talking to Vadim, he was kind of rationalizing it in whatever own dream state he had. And me and Jeremy had kind of talked about that a little bit beforehand on what that was going to look like, and it didn't end up coming to into a whole lot, but we did talk about that. But they kind of just rationalize whatever happens, and so that Slaughterstone has programming in there to kind of move things out of its path, and it's fairly common. But then when the alarm was triggered, it was on alert, and it saw you guys coming down the hall, and that's when it came in, was kind of spinning its blades, General Grievous style. But from some terrible rolls on its side and some really good rolls from your guys' side, you guys were able to get in without having to deal with that much, and then the ship cleaver just took care of the other one. But the Slaughterstone Behemoth was the one that you guys took over and just wrecked shop on a bunch of random guards. But yeah, so it was all thrown out the window, the encounter at that point. Like, the ship cleaver made that way easier than it was supposed to be. And I feel bad for Jeremy. He was supposed to have a much larger feature, and he ended up being in there for a little bit of combat, and that was it. But that's kind of how it goes sometimes.
it was gonna be, oh, you got this leveled up character who's gonna help you. No, you just got the ship cleaver. He's just gonna cleave.
Also a leveled up character that is going to help you just in a very different way.
Cleaver's gonna cleave.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, there was a bunch of lore from that entire place that just got.
Oh yeah, we
thrown
missed
out.
everything in the captain's room. Absolutely everything in there, probably because we just left. We ate some food and left.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of things that like you guys could find out on just like general lore and on things about like some of the pirates who were in there. Like you could have asked questions about their history and why they were put in. There was also a bunch of other areas of the prison that I had kind of at least tentatively put in there in case you guys happened to go like in case something crazy happened. And you guys were exploring around. So yeah, there is a bunch there that we will at some point touch on, I'm sure. Even
You're
if it's
on
just
a mission. Ooh, shiny.
You guys realize that, like, late game, the ship cleaver is going to have his own ship again, and he's going to be causing so much trouble on the high seas.
That's fine. That's fine. We
Uh-huh.
unleash some sort of ocean witch on an island that's gonna blow up everything later.
What was the thing that we were so worried about? Like the pirates are so worried about these massive ships that were going to hurt them, and now I have a ship cleaver. We don't have to worry, guys.
I'm sure
I'm
that's how
still
that'll
waiting
work.
for the session where the DM goes, "Oh yeah, you know that bright, shiny, flaming plate you guys stole? Turns out it was the only thing that was keeping some ancient evil god in
It was
like
the
in its
seal.
prison."
I hope so. Sindri will be so happy that it will be the linchpin in solving a huge world disaster.
You
only
caused the world disaster.
Or it's just going to be like the,
Irrelevant.
paint the target for the missile type of thing of like it's on the back of this ship. And so that's why all the sea monsters are showing up, because it's just like
I mean, the destruction of the ship would make Sindri happy, so these are only wins.
While he's
So,
on it,
well, maybe not while he's on it, but he would be quite happy for the ship and all its crew to be
But he
destroyed.
wants to
so.
take the disc with him when he leaves. So what if sea monsters
Yeah.
start showing up on land to attack you because you have
well,
that disc?
then they're no longer sea monsters by
Exactly.
definition.
Oh, do they go
Yeah,
invisible?
now they're
when they're on
land monsters.
No, they become
And now
land
it's on.
monsters. Duh.
Yeah.
Home field
So
advantage
now,
for us.
now it's fine. It's not the monsters that Sindri has a problem with, it's the water around them. If they leave the water, it's fine.
Oh,
You're
that's
walking up to Godzilla, I would fight you, but that puddle you're standing in is just not acceptable.
What about you, DM? You have any burning questions for us?
Let's see. I was trying to remember.
Any burning wise.
Why did you do this?
What on earth?
So I guess we can kind of work our way backwards a little bit and talk about what happened most recently. So with the Brickleback fight, was there anything that surprised you or that you guys expected to see with that fight? Is there anything that your characters still have interest with the various pirates that are around the crew? That's just open to anybody who wants to answer.
I honestly expected it to be a lot more destructive to the crew members.
I thought a lot of people were gonna die.
Yeah, I thought we were or lose. Like with the big
honestly
tentacles
did
and
not
everything,
seem-
start losing mass, and then you're real screwed.
I think we did okay spreading the damage out on that one, which is pretty good.
What
I was
that,
at like
Nicholas?
2 HP.
0 damage. Clyde knows how to fight.
Nicholas, what were you
Knows how
saying?
to hide.
I was going to say, it seemed less threatening than the pirates made it seem in their descriptions.
I think it seemed.
Don't say it like that.
Yeah, now it's coming back. Now that was the baby.
That's
Now
the
Mama's
vengeance.
coming.
And I think it seemed a lot weaker than it was because of how the fight happened. And that was kind of on purpose, because the way that they were talking about it, and the way that, honestly, if you go back and watch that first round of when it happens, or when it gets its actions up at the front, because it's a deadly encounter for you guys for sure, but it is not quite up to the level of all the rest of the crew. And so for many of you guys, it would 1 or 2 shot you all. But the crew is a little bit higher level, and so they, like, when it tossed it into its mouth, again, that's supposed to be something that most of you guys can barely survive, but for a lot of the other crew members, it's something that they have a much higher percentage of surviving. And so I think a couple of them got grappled and tossed towards the mouth, and like we're just a handful of HP away from being just swallowed and instantly eaten. And so there were a couple things where like the rolls went really well and the spread happened really well that I think made it seem by the end of it not quite as bad as it was, as it could have been, I'll say. And that a lot of that creature's statistics were kind of taken kind of off of a watered down, I'll say, Kraken stat block. And so it has a lot of the same mechanics, and it still has a lot of the same defensive abilities. It's just offensive output was a little bit smaller, so that you guys just didn't get absolutely obliterated.
And cannons are good.
Like cannons are also good, and that ship you also have to remember, like that crew specializes in killing sea monsters. Like that is what they do.
The Leviathan's Bane's perfect for doing it.
Yeah, and so you guys didn't only had to really deal with like 1, maybe 2 tentacles, because all the other pirates took care of the other tentacles. Like it was spread out across the ship.
Was that going to be an encounter after we did the merchant fight?
So no. If you guys did the merchant fight, the encounter would have been the merchant vessel instead.
Which we probably would have gotten more loot from.
Well, how could we get less? We're down a leg.
This decision.
Yeah, but we've gained a soul, so it's okay.
Ooh.
This is one of those decisions. Oh yeah, go ahead, Colleen.
I was gonna say, is it just basically because we had 2 high perception checks that we saw everything else going on?
Yeah, it was like, I think Roland got like a natural 20 perception.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Is the only natural 20 I get screwing us out of loot?
How
dare you?
Now we don't have to make that moral decision of are we the bad guys. Right now, the only people we've killed are guards who we might be able to say are also morally gray.
I mean, we're traveling with
the only people we've killed are the people making sure that massive, hugely dangerous criminals like the ship cleaver don't escape and wreak havoc on the seas.
Like, we are very much working with the bad guys.
Well,
not by choice, really.
Well,
but currently we are not the good guys.
And I would be careful, especially in this game, about classifying things so black and white.
Oh yeah.
Because what you'll very quickly find is that there
one's a good guy.
Yeah, there's not really any good guys, and there's not really any. I mean, there's not many totally bad guys. Where that is kind of something where each faction has its own merits and has its own abilities, and you guys will eventually, and kind of are now starting to get to the point where you choose where you will want to be.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, even within the pirates, there are definitely like better pirates than other pirates.
and that's
I just feel better about fighting the sea monster to save people as opposed to just killing some merchants for their shit.
Yeah, and
that's fair.
And that decision was one of those like video game decisions that like defines a lot of later paths. And so that's gonna you'll see much more ramifications from that later, both on the decisions you guys made at Dreadhold and the decisions that you guys made on that merchant vessel versus Brickleback fight, because there were a lot of things that kind of got determined from those 2 sessions and 2 situations.
Did we decide to fight the Brickleback? I thought that was all the captain.
So
also, are our sails in good enough condition to still chase down the merchant ship?
Are we the baddies?
You guys probably could have, well, theoretically the ship could have tried to chase down the merchant vessel,
We could still gotten the loot.
There would have been a lot of pushback from the captain, and I don't know if you guys caught it or not, but there was actually a heated discussion between Valaris and the captain about that exact situation. And so if you guys had that desire, that that would have rolled right into that conversation. And so obviously it would have been
now
more
there's
of
definitely some bad blood between pirate crews.
I got the
pirate code is to save the other pirates, and then the pirates turned tail and run and didn't stay around to help us.
That was what I thought that was discussion was more about, and so I was a little bit more on the side of the captain.
Yeah,
for that
that's
one.
what I thought.
It was.
I didn't realize they were discussing to chase the merchant vessel.
I think it was before we got to the fight was that discussion.
So it was combined because basically what the other ship did is they chose not to help to try and get the merchant vessel. So they went after the merchant vessel instead.
Then guess what? They're looting. Let's broadside these motherfuckers.
No, like if we run into a ship with crimson sails again,
They're going down.
It's gonna have crimson decks to match.
Or in a tavern in a later session.
Well,
Killing merchants, not really for us. Killing other pirates, though.
That's good.
Like I said, morally gray is a little. It's.
I mean, if anyone asks Cade, the Crimson Pirates, you can tell by their name, do not have a good reputation.
It depends on the way
how good are you
define
making
reputation.
poison?
How good have you synthesized that neurotoxin yet?
I don't think I'm good at making
Can
poison.
you spit
Most of my history is helping people, surprisingly.
Well, guess what? It's like this much of a difference.
Yeah,
Saving a life and killing a life.
The vast majority of poisons are just an overdose on a medicine.
Not the really good poisons.
Although I do have a lot of the active
Even the
ingredients.
really good
I do
poisons
have
short
on
amounts of
my
medicine.
on my character sheet. I have some of the active ingredients that were in that neurotoxin.
Could have taken the bowl.
Yeah, we discussed potentially making it again, but we would have to revisit
All right, let's
the
start
island where it was native.
Though, like,
sure
the
nothing's going on
neurotoxin's
there.
powerful, but it has to be like the weakest neurotoxin ever made that it doesn't just kill you. Like,
He touched his skin and the arm stopped. It did not get into his bloodstream. It just touched his skin.
Not
What are you
even
talking
touched his skin.
about?
Something that touched it touched my skin, and the arm went.
I'm gonna teach you how
didn't we
Cobra
use
Venom
it?
spray works.
I
No,
Because it
you guys
doesn't
haven't-
just die if it touches you.
You guys have aerosolized it, but you haven't used the aerosolized version yet.
No. It's going to be a bad time when we do.
When the DM smiles like
but-
that, it's not good.
It wasn't the description about it. If we aerosolized it, it will be much less effective.
Yeah, but what happens when your heart, which is a muscle, stops? Your
The
lungs,
description I
when you
heard made it
breathe
seem
in?
like it's
Nick,
not
it's
killing
death in a bottle.
you. That's what I would assume it is, but that's not the description that I've heard. So
I haven't used it.
I'll-
It's also D&D. If you have death in a bottle, it is overpowered as fuck, and you can. It's either
Hey,
the worst thing in the
this
game or the
neurotoxin
best thing in the
touched
game.
You and you couldn't
Exactly.
move your arm for 24 hours.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
and now I've aerosolized it.
It's going to be interesting.
it's gonna
I
be a
will
good
say
time.
that for sure. I do want to go over also to the session before that, and how we ended the session before that, with basically the person that you guys broke out of Dreadhold, and them going over to a character that most of you guys are unfamiliar with, but Jasira. Or Bree, what was Jasira's reaction to seeing Galreth there, and what has gone through her mind since?
Very much just this kind of overwhelming, unceasing, uneasy feeling, I guess. Because she didn't have a high enough perception or was close enough to hear the conversation, but she was like, something's fucky over there. And she doesn't know, and, you know, she's very proud of her strategic planning, and so she's kind of feeling... I don't know.
Kind of feeling.
Yeah, just a little head bob, like, ooh. I guess adrift is kind of what it feels like. She's like alone at sea and just like, I don't know what's happening right now. Like, I can't plan for this.
She's someone who thrives with an abundance of information, suddenly short on information.
Exactly. And she knows there's something to be suspicious of because he asked the group something and the one bitch stood up.
That bitch.
Like,
Carol
My
that
notes.
bitch.
That bitch.
Like, bad juju all around. So,
Alright.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and then
I
right
expect
after
him to come
that,
back.
right after that, her like best friend so far has gotten her leg torn off. So, what is Jasira's reaction and response to that?
Yeah,
I've
in the
been
moment.
thinking about this all day. You don't understand. Because I was just like, okay, she's true neutral.
Actually, can I get a quick recap on what happened to Tove since I wasn't able to be there last session?
Oh, right.
Well, so in short, Monster was here, and Jasira called Tove over to the cannon to like, hey, help me with this cannon.
Good
Sea
news
Monster
is
attacks
no
both
one
of
died. No
Yeah.
one died.
True. No one died. But like Sea Monster
Except for
munched.
this little
There goes
piggy
her
and
leg.
this little piggy and this little...
Also, David,
Well,
you
see,
might need to reload your
Hmm.
camera. I don't think it's showing on.
The one time I
Yeah.
could
It's
see
still
him.
on stream.
Yeah, I
Okay, then
I think it,
don't
like,
worry about it. If
critted
it's on
on
stream,
Tove or
it's-
something.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah,
No.
or did a injury did half her
Yeah.
health.
So that
In
creature,
short,
Okay.
Tove lost like an entire leg, and I don't know.
In like round 1 or 2.
It was real quick, so it's just like, so you're out of the fight. Move you over here. Get some aid going.
That's
but-
rough.
yeah,
It
that
was not great.
Instead, I was almost rolling on that table too if friggin' Clyde hadn't cast aid on me. I'd have been
Yeah.
missing another limb.
so
Aid
you
was nice.
there was
Yeah.
you were like 2 HP away from rolling on it. Like it was so close. So that creature has a mechanic, and this is another reason why it didn't seem as bad as it was, is because Tove was the only one who got affected by this. Because I think of the party, all of them were fighting tentacles except for Sindri. And Sindri, I believe, has the highest health pool out of the party. And that creature works whenever it does its bite attack. If it does half of your... Actually, let me just pull it up so I can read it off directly so we can talk about this, because I love this thing that we did, or that I did here. But...
I love what I
we
did.
did together. No.
By me.
But yeah, basically whenever it uses its bite attack, if it does half of your stamina, yeah, if it does half of the stamina or more, if this damage is more than half the creature's, it's hit points, or its stamina points on a crit, then you roll 1d4. So if it knocks you down and you take half of your HP or more, or if it crits you and it does that damage to your stamina, then you have a 50% chance to lose or to be trapped within the mouth, and then a 50% chance to lose one of your limbs. Now, if that damage from the bite attack knocks you to 0 hit or health points or 0 stamina points, you have a 25% chance to lose an arm, a 25% chance to lose a leg, a 25% chance to be cut in half, or a 25% chance to be decapitated.
So
And that
2
didn't happen to
instant death
anybody.
options there, so that's good.
You were tossing people towards there.
Yeah, so it got very, very close on 4 or 5 pirates and Boko and Tove, and so
Always Boko.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah, no.
it was
Why does
very, very
Boko get so
close.
many
Best
hits?
decision I've ever made in D&D. Avoiding that combat.
But yeah,
Why is Boko the most frontline character in this party? Like,
It was in the middle of the ship the whole time.
Boko does
And
the thing
yet-
where he flies in with legs kicking.
I think Boko just likes to be in the action.
He's an attention hoe. It's okay.
No, he's just
Boko's like that
the full
one-
collection of prosthetics.
I have yet to make a prosthetic head.
He's trying. You know, once you do that, you can just become a Warforged.
Oh, and just a point of order. I don't know if anybody's posting questions in there or not, but this does go back past Dreadhold. It actually it includes Tragorn as well, or the back half of Tragorn.
Yeah, what the fuck is up with that?
Nice.
Can you be more specific?
Yeah, I got one. Was there any chance I could have gotten that musician's instrument if I'd have been more aware of what I wanted to do?
He might have let you borrow it, or you could have tried to steal it. But that's the same as like asking Boko if you can have his ceremonial knife, or asking Roland if you can have his rifle.
Oh, so it's really easy, and then you wait 3 or 4 days for him to ask for it.
No, yeah, that is very critical to that character, so he would have never willingly handed it over for keeps.
You could totally get Boko's knife, by the way. You just have to deal with the sexual tension.
Sorry, what was it?
Because what about the guy's one-stringed instrument?
That was actually possible. It would have taken either a lot of money or a crazy high charisma
I didn't have money yet.
Yeah. So that one would have been very tough, but it was actually in the realm of possible. It wasn't just like extremely improbable.
Here's a piece of stick and 2 strings. Have at it.
I love that character.
Bing, 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 bing.
Oh.
Tragorn is very much just like the swamp bayou dwellers who will just kind of do their own thing, don't really have any money, don't really have any cares, and just it's a different lifestyle there.
Were there any frogs there?
Any
frogs?
Oh, I see what you're asking. I was super confused there for a second.
Yeah. Bayou, frog legs, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Question for the DM.
Mm-hmm.
With the current, alliances that are forming between PCs, are there any that are unexpected to you, or any that you did not foresee happening?
I think the strangest one to me, at least when I wrote the character, is how much Tiff has become likable. Tiff was very much supposed to not be that when I wrote the character, and supposed to be like a little asshole. And that's just how it goes with writing characters sometimes. Sometimes you write someone who's supposed to be really unlikable, and then the way that the RP comes out, he ends up being a likable asshole. So
yeah,
everybody loves a tiny asshole.
You know what? We all have our quirks. I don't know. I don't want to know what Boko collects, actually.
And is super wholesome this campaign, but everybody hates him on principle?
Yes.
No, that was 100% intended. That like I wrote in is because I knew that people would hate him.
Cade does not have a problem with is, but Cade knows exactly what is.
Clyde finds it hilarious that everyone picks on is. That is just can't help but find himself in that spot.
Yeah, he's the fall guy.
That's just who the
He's just
character
a kill
is.
stealer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. I can't get over that.
And that, funny enough, that's like one of the few things from his personality that I did keep between the old iteration.
Of course you did.
In that game and this one, is that he would do something like that. But yeah, he's just the fall guy. He's just the one to always kind of be involved in everything and be able to be shit on constantly.
The tail end of the joke.
Yeah.
I knew I recognized this music.
I know.
Oh man.
Okay, we're back.
Okay. So, a question for Jasira. Is there a world in which that encounter on the beach ended up with Jasira going, fuck it, and starting to punch?
It depends. If she heard what he said, and maybe if that doesn't go over well, she'd fucking punch. Like, she doesn't care.
Okay, we should be back now. Hopefully to stay.
Just what I'm feeling.
Hopefully so.
Now that stream is back, can you please repeat everything that you just said?
Oh my god.
I think
I'm not. I'm so bad at
recap.
that.
So you would, if I heard it right, you would theoretically punch Vadim, but
She
not
would-
the plantation owner?
Anya.
Anya.
She'd go after Anya before she'd go after Gallup
That
himself. Yeah, she'd go after the bitch before she goes after
That makes sense.
Mr. Stick Up His Ass. So, again, there would be maybe like the slimmest of chances that she would go after him directly. It would depend on what it's about, though.
So while I guess before we get too far back and start spending a lot of time on Traglon, because I think there'll be some fun stuff there. But what has Cade's reaction been to experiencing another crew?
I think she finds it interesting, like seeing a different dynamic, but it's like one of those things where I'm gonna compare it to like driving a stick shift. Like when it's your own car, you know exactly when you're supposed to shift gears, and it's very smooth, and you're like very familiar with the process. But then when you go to like someone else's stick shift, you're like, I still know how to do everything, but it's a different rhythm.
Yep.
And like you transition at a different point. So it's one of those things that she's like, I know how to do everything on this ship, but it's a different flow, it's a different feel, like this isn't my group.
Everyone's stick has a different rhythm.
Nope. Every crew needs a guy that makes booze. That's what Clyde has learned, and it's always proven true.
I mean, she definitely, for her, she knows the personalities on the boat. Like, those can be consistent across boats. Like, there's certain types of pirates.
That guy.
Yeah, and so, she sees that. Like, most crews have an Iz, or someone of that type. Or, they have, the super scary quiet guy in the corner. So it's kind of fun seeing it on someone else's ship.
So which of
Also, it's
go
just really good info because this is kind of a mystery ship. They're the new guys on the block, so Cade's getting to see it firsthand, as most people don't know them.
Yep. And so far, is there any particular crew member that Cade has felt, I guess, either closer to or a kinship to more than any other?
Despite everyone else's absolute hatred of Iz,
That was a good dance.
It's like half the party despises Iz, and half of the party's he just seems like he's a person.
He's a different guy. What do you can't judge a guy
And the
based
other
on
half
another
is
reality.
I hope he fucking falls off the ship.
You can't judge a guy based on a different world.
You
No, you can't do
100%
that.
can't. Sometimes you just have a bad... And honestly,
So funny.
that's the entire
So
reason that I
funny.
put Iz into this game. Is because there's sometimes... In D&D, you can't ever quite capture just a bad feeling about someone the way that you can when you take someone that is known by some of the characters and completely change who they are. And that way that those players just have this bad feeling about him in their stomach, and they just get uncomfortable and they don't want to deal with him, and they just automatically have this hate. That is something that is so hard to pull off in a character in a game like this, and exactly why I chose to put Iz in.
See, the funny thing is, though, I think, is that, my character in the other campaign also didn't mind Iz.
Yeah.
So, for me, it's kind of chill, because, my other character was chill with Iz, and, this character is no different. Cade knows what Iz is. She knows his type, she's got him clocked, she's got him read, which means that, basically she knows that, he's good for a fun time, and like maybe under the right circumstances you could get him to be serious, but she knows what he is and knows what to expect from it. Which means that it could be fun under the right circumstances.
That makes sense.
I like Iz. I think it's also very possible that a lot of us just like to hate him. But he's just become the fall guy, which is
It's
pretty awesome.
Because that's where he was supposed to be on the ship, and that's where we're the newcomers, but immediately he was on that position below us as the fall guy.
And there's also something that brings people together about shared hatred more than shared interests.
Yeah, it was. Iz is the new Octavius.
And I mean, he did screw us over in the prison, and
there was nothing that wrong with Octavius. I think all of you all judged him a little too harshly. Now hold on one second.
You're nice right now, Thishult. Thishult is Octavius, basically.
100%.
Oh, come on.
You and your pyramid steam.
No,
exactly.
Octavius still has a fucking tadpole behind his eye, and I won't believe.
Oh yeah, that's not my wheelhouse. That's Boko's wheelhouse. I'm not touching that.
Oh shit! If he
So
does,
that's
he might
gonna
end
go
up being the
bad.
end boss.
Oh, great.
Well, I guess that means everyone's happy, right? You
Oh
get
my
killed,
God,
and I get to be like, oh no.
Can you imagine?
Head comes up to us, and in our head we hear Octavius talking.
Yes, the telepathy that you cannot gag.
Personality
Cannot
did
gag
not mesh
telepathy.
with the hive mind.
Yes, you
So he's
can.
outside
It's an 8th level spell. It's called Mind Blank.
Well.
Oh fuck! No, but I will not be persuaded otherwise.
Oh my god.
See, part of the reason I love these sessions is because you guys just give me great ideas that I can just pencil in for later.
Thishult with the hottest take.
I mean, any of the prisoners
I feel
should
like-
be a pinnacle. We didn't
I feel like-
check anyone.
Look, I get why people definitely dislike him. I just didn't feel like it was really to that certain degree of here. It was like more like down here.
I feel like that's also the type of person that the Schult is like used to interacting with on a
Yeah.
very common basis, though. Like the Schult is
Exactly.
from the
Immediately.
nobility.
Yeah,
He's always
posh
up for a
dickwads.
jump.
Oh, come
Like,
on!
plenty of
I mean, that's true. That doesn't mean I'm one.
I mean, Cade knows that type. It's the fancy stuck-up noble that you hold for ransom and you put a gag in his mouth so you don't have to listen to him, and that's
Please
exactly
don't do
what
that.
he
I
did.
am a merchant.
And Clyde's whole thing was let him think
Wait,
he's in charge.
you're a virgin?
And
I am
we'll
a
be
merchant.
fine. Let him think he's in charge, and he'll leave us alone.
Yes.
I totally heard virgin too.
Aye.
These things are not mutually exclusive.
Who knows?
We have not asked the Schult yet.
That's true.
Side mission unlocked.
All right. Well, adjacent
Is
to
the
that
Schult
last,
familiar with the process?
Oh
yeah,
my
adjacent to
god.
those last comments, what were everyone's thoughts on the Traglorn games?
Oh, they were
Oh.
awesome.
I had a
Yeah,
lot of
it was
fun.
fun. I
How
wish I
much-
could have played more of them.
I want to know
we'll
how
be
much
playing more
how
of
much
them.
do you love that dip mechanic?
Oh,
For
yeah,
the
you're the
pit.
only one who was in it before. That's right. Yes, it went so well, and I completely forgot that you were in that game because
Yeah,
honestly,
no, I
that
saw
game
it. I was like,
that was in and out so fast, and I don't know if you caught it, but they do make a reference that it started in the other city, which that game that we played is still in this world. Like all that stuff happened. And whenever you guys get over to Karnath, because I assume that it'll happen at some point, like
We'd better.
there.
No, we're just gonna teleport straight to Breland.
I mean, you can do that if you
Yay!
want. Like that
I
is
want to
allowed.
go to Karnath. I've got unfinished business in Karnath, first of all.
Nah,
wait,
we
wait,
were
wait, I
down
have
there.
business
Let's
to do.
go back.
But yeah, the dip diving I think is just a great mechanic, and so I thought this was a perfect time to bring it back. Or the dipping is what it's called in Karnath. And so the dip diving was a slightly different take on it, but still the same core concept.
as soon as I saw, I was like, well, Clyde's not going in that one, but ever.
Feel like secondary to all the games, there were so many little like quirks of character that came out in all of those that just set canon like progression for character development.
Like Boko collecting shirts. What the fuck is up with that?
Okay, but the actual social awkwardness but competitiveness is so him.
I thought that was well played.
No, it was a. It wasn't.
You just gotta say, please, can I have my shirt back? That's all you gotta say.
Boko is competitive, but he's got a good heart. And then Roland and his interactions with Iz and Lydia, that was just fucking comical.
Oh my gosh, that was so amusing.
Oh man.
And I've been trying to get down how to give the feeling that there is a space that is lived in and that there are a lot of people there without having to do too much as a DM with all of the characters all at the same time. And so with this game, I've really tried to like give you a very broad overview at the beginning of like what people looked like so that you kind of knew who was on the ship, and then a few at a time kind of just drop in kind of characters here and there that we can kind of flesh out within a session. And that way it allows me to kind of focus in on them, and I think it's allowed their personalities to read a lot more than when I've tried to do all of them at once in the past. And I think
I especially see that with the Pride of Dreadhold, with the different
And
pirate personalities and where I can conceptualize them placed on the ship at different times.
and there's a lot of pirates there.
Yeah,
And it adds a lot to the feeling of it too, as I feel like not only as a character but as a player, there are certain pirates that I've taken an interest in that I just don't know what they do or what their job on there is or what their personality is. Like Miss Lorister is on my radar because like I don't know what she does, and then her operating that cannon like a fucking pro was just like, what?
Yeah,
That was awesome.
And it may have been a bit confusing when it happened, because sometimes it's hard for me to switch back and forth between voices. But she's the bosun, and so she gives all of the commands to the crew whenever they are sailing. And so like in the fight, like the captain was relaying to her the intent, and then she would give out the commands on what to do with the sails, on what to do with the oars, on where to move the ship. So she is clearly an experienced sailor and clearly an officer, and so she has to at least have some experience with the cannon.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't think she was really on anybody's radar at the beginning of the game.
Mm-mm.
No, and she wasn't.
I thought the blue orc was the bosun at the beginning, but
yeah, the blue orc has a role that I believe is called like what is it? Forward group commander.
He's the enforcer.
He's basically the leader of the boarding party.
Gotcha.
He's the guy that
he's the commandant of the Marines.
He's the one where you see him running up the gangplank and you go, oh, guess I'll die.
You know what? You know what? I think I might be able to swim.
He comes running towards you, go like, oh, I haven't had a good back crack in ages.
He was also the one that ripped that noble's head out of the spine out.
Yeah.
Right?
Because she sold us out.
Yep.
Yeah. Oops.
I don't think he appreciated that.
No, he did not.
So like
No
you
one
put
likes a
people
rat.
in a situation where that is supposed to get them to band together of them against the people who are holding them captive, and the person who is willing to sell everyone else out in order to get ahead will sell out your entire crew to get ahead later.
Hannon,
Snitches get ditches.
The rest of us were ready to jump down the poop chute to get out.
I am convinced now, Epiphany, that he has like a fanny pack that Tiff rides in, and just like one hit to their face sends teeth flying, and Tiff just jumps out and picks him up like
That's
like
where he got all the
candy
teeth
from a
and just
pinata.
follows behind him. That's why he's called the Tooth Fairy. That's what the orc calls him.
That's staying straight in my head from now on. That's all I'm gonna believe.
God.
I won't accept any criticism on this.
Oh gosh.
Fuck.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's also so hard for me. I've tried my best to like not give too much into the backstories of these characters and like leave it up to you guys if you want them or not. But there's some characters
Oh, you
like
mean
Tiff.
these criminals who were locked up in the best prison in the world? Who were all like, you know what, it's probably, we'll just be chummy with them. It'll be fine, right?
It's fine.
Right.
But yeah, it has been interesting how none of you guys have asked any of the backstories yet, and I've been like, okay. But Tiff especially is one that like I just saw his character art and the entire story of the character was written like instantly. Like I know exactly who you are and I know exactly how you got here.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know if you walk up to somebody on a pirate ship.
So
with
what's
the
your
crew who's
backstory?
famous, for breaking out of prison and being like, what'd you go to prison for?
I mean, and also to be fair, the times that we have asked, we get a nondescript answer of "you'll find out."
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to know. You know what?
I feel
It's
like,
fine.
yeah.
It's fine.
Maybe I won't find out. Let's not do that.
We're talking like
Better.
I'm still curious to see if we can get Iz's backstory, because Iz and
Exactly.
Cade
He
still
fucked
have
the
a drink
noble wife.
left
He
to
fucked the
take.
noble wife, and the noble man threw him in the slammer.
Do you think that he is a pretty boy time?
That was one of the things that you guys could have gotten out of Dreadhold had you played the cards right and had you rolled higher with the
Steal all
infiltration
the
team.
records.
Was because Iz was there with you and he was the one that got you in, and so it would have been very easy to like ask why he was in there before.
I
But-
did.
You did, but you weren't on the infiltration, or you weren't on the not infiltration, the other one, impersonation team.
Disguise team.
Yeah, the one who was the ones who were talking to the warden.
Yeah, who did poorly.
Gotcha.
No, we did great. Everything went great.
Except for that one poor fucker.
There's a small.
We rolled
For what it's worth.
108.
No.
We
See,
needed.
here's the deal. Here's all the good stuff. There's a small dip right here where we have that whole problem, but everything
All
else
of
went
the
great.
lore.
All
of it.
We're just like
Tried it.
that one oh snap moment.
No, we get nothing. All right, well, we're gonna eat this cheese.
oh, this DM has kindly written out everything that I need to know about everybody here. That won't help me because I can't read.
Yeah, the impersonation team was how, if you guys rolled well on that, was where all of the lore came from. And then if you guys rolled poorly on that, that's when complications were going to arise for the infiltration team. And so I don't know if you guys picked up on that correlation, but a lot of the bad rolls that the impersonation team did made things pop up for the infiltration team and
Well,
gave you
good.
guys
You had
challenges.
the ship cleaver, so it just cleared the board.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
We literally just followed along behind as the DM was just playing with his toys.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I always love it when you get the DM to play with himself during a session. Just like he's having so much fun.
I hate that.
I hate that.
I really try my absolute hardest to not let random people be the spotlight unless they're really supposed to be. And the ship cleaver was not supposed to be, but then he was, and it was just like, okay.
You're welcome.
And now he's going to be.
Well, and,
The DM
that's-
heard
see
himself
anything
in
else.
confusion.
and that is the one thing that I told myself. I was like, I left it up
There you
to the players to decide if they wanted to bring other people in. So that is ultimately a player influence choice, right?
Yep.
Oh,
We're going to start
goodness.
developing a reputation as just the luckiest motherfuckers. Like, no business surviving any of that shit. But somehow.
Well,
Luck isn't a superpower. Yes, it is.
and
Yes.
something to think about.
Yes, it is.
Something to think about in regards to that is that we're getting closer and closer to you guys actually being seen as a group,
A group together.
and closer and
Needing
closer to
a
having to name. Yep.
I had an idea for the name.
Oh no.
Should I keep it secret or should I say it here?
I mean, doesn't matter. It's up to
So
you.
All we can do is like worst
Okay.
we can do is shoot it down.
Okay. So, the idea behind this name is has to do with kind of some backstory things, but also just to kind of prep from a nautical aspect. If you have like minimal manning on a ship at night and you need to keep watch, you want someone on the helm, someone in the lookout, and someone patrolling the ship. So 3 people, preferably 6 eyes. What if we were the seventh eye?
Hmm.
Oh, it's kind of fun.
Because
I do
we
like that.
assumed that we were on the island of Seventh, and we
Mhm.
fought so many fucking eyes.
So many
No,
fucking eyes.
that actually is pretty good.
But just
I
that
mean-
one other thing, like, we're not actually running the ship, we're not doing anything, but we're that extra factor
Mhm.
that no one accounts for, the seventh eye.
I like it.
It'd be cool.
Personally, I like it.
It'd be great
I mean,
when we're in the middle of the continent
just-
and no one gets it.
You also came
by
up with
the
the
way,
Requiem. It's
there's
like
7 of us.
so good.
Yo, true.
Yeah.
now that a certain gunslinger isn't around anymore.
And
For
Eileen is here now.
Well,
For now.
The DM is chronically just going to make jokes, and he's going to have NPCs look at us, count us, and then point out Roland to be like, "You only have one eye. You must be the seventh eye."
you must be the
Ah,
leader.
dang it.
It's like, yeah, you must be the Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no.
Oh gosh.
Through the course of the campaign, we'll collectively lose eyeballs until we only have 7 eyes.
Oh, dear.
I don't like that idea.
Come to the dark side.
No, I hope not.
I think you guys should just go with the other theme and be 10 tickles.
Oh no.
No. No.
No.
That's kind of funny.
Whenever
but-
someone starts to count, they get tickled and they're the 10th.
We're going to be like
No.
the hentai avatar.
No,
collection.
no, I don't want that
We have
shouted
sky
from the
hentai, we
rooftop.
have sea hentai. When do we get to land hentai?
All right, we're
I
the
mean-
hentai slayers. That's not.
No, guys, I've been trying to convince Sindri that seeing this many tentacles and this little of time is not normal.
No, I don't think the DM's gonna allow that to be true.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
I
make
don't know
it.
if that is true. I think it's geographically dependent.
What about the
I don't
fire
know.
hentai?
I'm just gonna make you
I
guys
don't
seem
All
like
Sindri knows of the
That's-
surface
no.
world is tentacle monsters attack you whenever you're near water.
It's
But
gonna
everything
rain,
changed
and we're
when the
gonna
earth
get
hentai attacked. Or when the fire hentai attacked.
get ready for it.
Oh,
As long as it's on land, Sindri will be happy about it. We just need to stop the sea voyage crap.
no. The next quest has to be on an island in the center of a lake.
God damn it.
Not like this.
Mainland.
Not
Shit.
I can guarantee
Oh,
you
man.
that the next quest will not be on sea.
Great.
You see, but how you say that, it doesn't fill me with the relief like you might think it does. I'm
Yeah.
just more worried about what you actually mean.
Now I'm thinking about the Underdark.
That would be even better. Sindri is from the Underdark. That we can go to my house.
Excuse
It'll be
me, you're
great.
what?
We can go to my
Hold on.
That's when the DM goes, yep, straight to the 7th level of hell. Fire hentai is here. Roll for initiative.
It's here now.
Sindri looks around. There's no oceans. This is great.
Somebody's got to count up the number of sessions in between the 2 hentai sessions. I think it's like exactly 20.
Oh my god.
Ooh, that's good. That's a good amount.
Yeah. So
Setting
Earth
a
or
precedent
Fire-
here. Every
Earth or
20
Fire-
sessions.
At session 40, Earth or Fire hentai is coming.
I don't like
we
it.
had 20 sessions?
Yeah, we're on 22 is supposed to be today.
We just need
Really?
a
Damn.
cave full
Okay.
of
I know.
ropers. That's what we need.
No. People are gonna come asking questions that Clyde is not gonna answer for you.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, not happening.
That's fucking hilarious.
Any other questions for the party to other party members?
Let's see. Boko,
Oh, Jesus.
you've developed a sudden fascination with soul magic.
A worrying fascination.
Are you a
Yeah.
warlock?
I'm not.
Wait, there is no
No,
way that we
no,
could
you
ever be
can't.
able to
No,
tell that
Nick.
he is a warlock.
Spooky twin.
I think it kind of just fell into my lap, honestly, especially after seeing Jasira and her first stealing of a soul.
Mm.
And it was something that I had originally like written into my backstory and had this idea surrounding like the theme of the character. This very I won't spoil too much of it, but essentially, I guess it comes back from when I DM'd the Monday night game for David and Austin, and I explored this concept of, rather than the backstory that Austin gave me of these people pouring chunks of their soul into steel, I did the reverse, where people were pouring steel into their soul and just becoming these warped, like crazy individuals. And I fell in love with this idea and wanted to sort of turn it on its head and play with this whole soul as a flux or as a medium in and out of like organic material. And I think Boko was just fucking perfect for that. And then seeing Jasira channel that was just like, okay, hey, I'm not the only creepy person here.
Hey, girl.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that worries the heck out of me. 2 party members are just gonna disappear one night. Just go
No.
straight into the Shadow Realm.
I think it's a
Playing with
resource
souls.
that I don't think any
And
games
it
have
won't
really.
be the 2 that you expect.
Sindri and
I don't
Clyde
think
just
it's a
go
resource
skipping
that's
off.
been explored.
There's no water.
Yeah.
I also think it's going to be awesome that we have come up with this idea and handed it over to a capable DM who's probably going to come up with some.
That's
Fucking
kind of why
crazy
I am
shit.
worried about
Fine.
it, because I can see that it's not going to go
Don't
well
worry
for
about
us
it.
ever.
It's
Don't worry,
fine.
don't worry.
Positives. There'll be positives, but
He'll
in the
run
long
us-
run, it'll bite us in the ass.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
he'll run us
very-
through. He'll run us through developing it in this campaign, and then it's gonna come and fuck us in the next campaign.
Well, and then we're
because
going to be
it's
like,
be out in
wait,
the
isn't
world.
this how they made Warforged? Wait, didn't we already do that? Didn't that go poorly?
Or in the very,
You have
very near
no
future.
idea.
I'd like to think that in the very near future, when Jasira, myself, and potentially Shay get this figured out and get sort of versed in the way of soul harvesting,
You're making very warlock emotions with your hands right now.
that
No, you
somebody
can't
is going
tell.
to take
You can't
notice
Very
of
that's
the amount
very
of
presumptive.
souls. But I do think that it is going to make waves, especially in this sort
We're
of.
going to get hunted down. There's going to be blasphemy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That, and I think we're going to catch the eye of potentially.
More than the Arbiters already coming to kill us?
It's gonna be
We're already
fine.
wanted criminals. Like that is the start of this campaign.
It's okay.
How many people can we get to hunt us?
Look, I'll talk with them. I'm part of the group. It's fine. Like, we'll figure it out.
Part of the group.
Or yeah, what about gods who are not very happy about
Losing
souls
souls?
being corrupted and
They're taken.
hollowed?
Oh, they can hate me all they want. This
I'll be
is my
honest,
way of
Chief.
life.
That's not my wheelhouse. That's all, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm out of that game.
Let's see. How many
got
divine
confused.
casters do we have in the group that could talk to you about gods?
One.
Not my wheelhouse.
Cult leaders?
The closest thing we have to a cleric is a guy who can't hit anything with a rifle.
Hey.
It's
The
true,
good
though.
book has very specific regulations about murdering people.
About accuracy?
Its stance on kneecaps, however, is much less fuzzy. Much more fuzzy.
It do be like
Butchered
that.
that reference. I fucking butchered that
No,
reference.
no. Now it's much more.
less-
I appreciated
It's
it.
less
David.
fuzzy. The scriptures literally say, "Thou shalt snap them in the kneecap."
It's fuzzy.
You hand it to him and
Now
he
it's
even
all-
Very clear.
Thou
It is
shalt
written.
hit it.
Boom.
It's so important to the scripture. It's literally how all the town guards get recruited.
They used to be an adventurer like us.
Yes.
Yep.
on an
And then
unrelated
someone
note,
came and missed their face and popped them in the kneecap.
On an unrelated note, how far up is Tove's amputation?
It is right below the knee.
Oh,
Full on peg leg.
Yeah,
Full-on
well,
peg
that's
leg.
fine. We can make peg leg spike. We can fill it with alcohol. It'll be fine.
I was
My
gonna
name
say,
is John Silver,
yeah.
and I've got a long fucking memory.
Or we can attach a small cannon to the leg and make things real wild.
Yes.
with
True.
the amount, I mean, first of all,
watch Tove hit things with the leg-mounted cannon while rolling with a rifle.
Sindri needs a backpack cannon.
A backpack cannon.
No, you need a backpack-mounted turret that
Yeah.
Clyde can fire while you're melee.
Just bend over and Boba Fett fuckers.
with the propensity our group has for losing limbs, the stones on
Only
Clyde,
one.
just like in general, and Sindri's general appearance, they should just call us sticks and stones.
That's a good one too.
Don't worry, we'll fix people up, whether through Steam or whatever the hell Boko's doing. We'll make it happen.
Sticks and stones will break your
Definitely
bones.
need to suit Sindri up with a steam jetpack.
That's what I'm saying.
Also,
We need a Sindri delivery system.
the difference between how Boko and Thashalt approach Artifice is also something that I'm
It's so
super
crazy.
interested in getting into at some point, because I can see it like slowly building and Thashalt just continuing to question like, where do I stand on this? Because it's kind of in between what he does and what he doesn't want to do, or what he didn't like in Karnath. And so I think that's been super, super cool to see.
True.
I think it's awesome because Thashalt seems to have an idea of what Artifice is supposed to be and what it's not supposed to be, and Boko just completely takes the two and slams them together. That being said, I do feel like I love the interaction between the two, because Boko's like, oh yeah, this is what I do, and Thashalt's like, I don't understand, I don't really condone, but like I want to be supportive of you, like you do you.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where like I'm following a pursuit that like that the show really wants to bring into the world, and despite the fact that I don't necessarily understand what you're doing, it is something interesting, and it's an interesting take on the things that maybe I just really didn't view at all before. So like, you know, just a little bit of it. It's like getting to see kind of an interesting side of something that I was originally like, we need to get rid of this. It completely, it's to be gotten rid of. There is no use in having this, and now I'm like, well, there's an interesting, perhaps, you know, macabre, but an interesting fusion of the two that we're seeing unfold
You
here.
flipped to the
That's
coin
how
and
it
it stood on edge.
Yes, exactly. It literally is. I'm like, all right.
Didn't consider this a possibility.
20
I will.
sessions- 20 sessions from now, we're gonna have the Schalt head.
Another
time.
hentai
He's gonna
episode.
have.
I will say right now, and I'm willing to admit it. When I was trying to do the hostage negotiation, where it was essentially that I was going to request certain prisoners to do experiments on, turning blood to steam is actually not completely out of my current thoughts based on what I've been seeing.
All right. I found the most evil party member.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, if you can vaporize
You know
opponents,
what? I know
that's really good.
Schult's not in school anymore.
no
Was
one,
it ever debated that the salesman was the main bad guy of the group?
There.
I look
Who
forward
did
to
not
when
already know this?
the Shalt tries to explain this to Boku, and Boku goes, ugh.
The Schalt and his pyramid steam.
oh gosh,
I assure you, it's a great idea.
top.
Oh man,
10.
that's amazing. Did you see the PCs getting together like this, Austin?
I think in every game, I try not to imagine what it should be and try to give kind of opportunities and things that I hope will pull them together. But I'm also very interested in kind of exploring the different range of interactions, and especially with this group, because you guys are all so good at role playing, is I think that there was a lot of potential for having situations like what we had on the island, where there was tension and there was like disagreement, and yet there was still a forward movement on what you guys were doing on hand.
Yeah,
and
that was a really good moment.
a lot of
for
the
the whole
things that
party.
I have written and have coming up will pull those things out more, especially as we get into individual people's relationship to the story, or as they go and search that out. Like, there is going to be tensions that come and press on party members and reveal things that people don't know about different
About
players. Like, there are things that people don't know about what's going on that drastically change context. There's also some things that players don't know about themselves that they still have yet to discover.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing that I wrote into my backstory to just hand that to you to do to me with.
David, you know
What?
by now
That's
you don't
half
have to
the
write
fun.
it in. Like, it's gonna
Yeah,
be there
you-
regardless.
You leave spots for the DM to be like, hey, yeah.
I need to write a backstory that, like,
Literally
I
nothing
had
is wrong.
a loving family all the way through my
False
childhood.
memory.
They all
False
died
memory.
of natural causes, and
False memory. They got
But I'm
infected
still a
by
happy
wizard.
person.
In fact, they're all still alive, so they can be used against you again.
They all died of can't come back, and it's terrible. They can't be revived by anything.
And-
It's terrible.
David, if they die, just get some necromancer. Then there, boom, you're not over.
Hey, hold on.
And you guys
saying.
have the lore on how the simorphotosis or whatever it's called works now, where the tadpoles actually implant memories in your mind. So
That's kinda
really
messed up.
nothing is safe.
Okay, yeah, every single party member besides Clyde might be infected.
Yeah.
All right,
Clyde might
crack 'em
still
open.
be infected. We only removed one eye.
Well, you guys did a pretty thorough investigation on the brain, which was the important part.
Hey, two of us were never even on the ship. I feel like we're not infected.
The most suspicious.
Yep, most suspicious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know
You
if I like
claim
that.
you were never on the ship, and yet you ended up on the same
Maybe all
island.
the ship memories are false. Did you think of that?
Ooh,
Maybe
yeah,
Sindri is
checkmate.
actually a champion swimmer, but all these memories are being put in.
I think Cade and Sindri are still the only players who have not gotten naked multiple times now.
Oh yeah. Clyde does not care. He'll take his clothes off.
Like, between the
Well,
games
I mean-
at Traglorn and the abduction at the beginning.
Let's be clear.
And the
Kate
dip
is
diving.
like half naked in her daily wear,
That's
so like
fair.
really does not give a fuck.
That's very fair.
And then you've got Lydia over here. Breeze will take her
Handing
shirt
out
off.
shirts.
Oh, you want a shirt? Here you go.
Boko's got a whole collection. He's collecting of like cards, and he's like, "No, I've got like 10 of that one. I don't need any more."
I don't need that one.
Got the whole set there.
Let's say,
I
Boko doesn't
can't-
have to
I
ask
can't put
anymore.
any more
When
of those
Lydia
in my
sees
deck.
Boko, she just takes off
Yeah,
the shirt.
hold on. I maxed out the cards on that one.
If you get 10, what do you get free if you turn them in?
Her.
Wow, and I didn't even have to collect 10.
A pair of shoes.
That's all it takes.
Alright, I got one.
Yeah, go for it. I can't ask my question right now. I
To get
couldn't do
us
it.
away from this
Yeah.
conversation. Okay, Clyde.
Yeah.
Clyde gives off the vibe of a man who's ready to retire.
This is a good question.
Clyde was
I haven't even gotten
retired.
to the question yet.
What keeps him going right here? Like, you know, every crew needs someone who makes booze. Why the fuck is that Clyde? He's fucking retired. Why is he still making booze?
He was one
because
day
he
from
was
retirement.
on the ship, and he was driving his wagon, enjoying his retirement. Okay,
Honestly, I
he
think
was
that
on a little bit of a personal quest, but enjoying his retirement slowly, leisurely, and he got grabbed by the sky hentai.
and I think that is such a great like indication of how Adam has been playing this character, because that's 100% what it was, and that's how it always comes up, is that he's not interested in the slightest in adventuring. Like, this is not where he wanted to be.
He was having a great, grand old time. All his shit's gone.
Whoops.
Which brings up an interesting point. What happens when we all witness the moment that Clyde has pushed too far and he goes, all right, it's time to come out of retirement?
Everyone keeps asking if I'm back, and you know what? Yeah, I think I'm back.
The equivalent of going Super Saiyan.
Exactly.
Did we learn that Clyde's actual job before retirement was like the most notorious hitman in the world?
He was an arbiter.
He's pretending he's a bard, but actually he's just a pure like background level 20 like assassin.
Roland, rifle now.
Roland just can't shoot. Clyde, give me that.
Well, to be fair,
Headshot
Clyde is
3 miles away.
that weapon.
Oh, that's amazing.
Actually, Clyde is proficient with all martial weapons as a bard.
This is headcanon now.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, Clyde's gonna be a
I want-
sniper agent.
If
I
Clyde
wonder-
ever gets a puppy during the campaign, we have to protect it at all costs with our lives.
He had a horse for like 60 minutes. He had Clydesdale.
Wait.
Oh my
Was it-
god.
Was it named Roach?
No, Dale.
I thought it was named Henrietta.
It was, but then I thought Dale would be better.
Clydesdale.
I want at some point for Clyde to take Roland's gun, just to like, oh, can I see your gun? And like point at a tree,
Probably.
nat 20 the tree, and like,
No.
cool gun,
Hey,
and hand
I'm
it back.
a little hungry. Can I borrow that?
Cut the tree in half.
Yes, with a bullet.
Which reminds me, Roland, how confident are you in my artificer work right now? I'm sorry. This isn't my fault.
Backstory-wise, the rifle worked perfectly until you fucked with it.
This is actually true.
That sounds about right.
Maybe you just need to tweak it. Maybe you just didn't twist it.
I don't know if
I
he's ever
need,
gonna
I
let me
need to
touch
go
it
ask
again.
Boko to work on it now, because I don't know what you
You
did.
have the Steam release on backwards. It's backfiring every time.
Is the infusion still on it?
Yeah, I never took it off.
And
I can
take
put
it
an
off.
infusion on
Do
it
you
where you can throw it at somebody and it'll come back to you.
That is true.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Oh, it
you really-
jammed!
You just
And it
gotta.
will literally just have spider legs. You'll throw it and it'll go and come back.
This bitch jammed. Yeet.
Since I know I can't shoot anyways, can I roll intimidation on my spider gun?
Yes, but you have
And
to. roll
it's
against
just like
it
a
for
little
yourself.
turret that comes around and follows you like.
Can the
That'd be
gun
good.
fire itself better than rolling?
It is
I'll,
possible.
I'll cast Mage Hand and pull the trigger.
Hey, you know what?
We just need someone to get the magic mouth spell and make it so it mocks him every time he misses. It is the best strat.
Oh gosh, that's
Even though the
awful.
spell doesn't have a limitation, no will only let my wizard do it on one item at a time. Because apparently it would be disruptive.
One day you'll get that bullseye on
Yes!
boss that'll just disintegrate him. One day.
Oh, you mean like when we fought the Sky Hentai and I fucking double crit the tentacle monster?
With a knife. Now with your gun.
Hey, good work,
Any,
though.
you just
any
sick.
schmuck
You just
can
gotta
stab
sit
an
down with
octopus.
Boko and just work out how to get the Schultz infusion off. Like,
Wow.
Take up one of Boko's infusion slots just to negate the shawl.
And watch you start hitting well right afterwards.
guys, I'm 100% convinced the dice rolls based on the story. Like,
Oh,
for some
absolutely.
reason, there is a story out there that is the Schultz and Roland are supposed to butt heads over this, and I guarantee as soon as that infusion is gone, you will shoot well.
Mm-hmm.
Roll20 just knows the amount of trouble that we went through working out the reload mechanic. It's like, damn it, you went through this? You're going to use it.
I do like the reload mechanic though. I
True.
think it's in a fun spot.
Can you explain the reload mechanic? I did not read that.
Yeah, so the reload mechanic basically for firearms, so they will have a basically a die roll range. And so whenever you get a natural 1, it is some sort of you roll on the misfire table. And basically the lower numbers on this chart are the worst things to happen, and the higher numbers, and I think it goes from 1 to 20, the higher numbers are very little to nothing happens. But your firearm determines what size of die you roll. So if you have a really nice firearm, you roll a d20. But if you have a really terrible die or firearm, like a basic flintlock, you roll like a d6. And so it limits your options only to the bad options. And so it keeps it from it happening all the time by misfires like happening by controlling misfire on the number of the d20. And so it always only happens on ones. But it also still keeps that variation where the higher quality firearms will have bad things happen less often. And
Okay, but what's the reload mechanic?
I'm doing misfire. My B.
You were doing such a good job, though. I wasn't gonna say it.
I understand. I absorbed the information.
I heard it. I'm like, okay, I did know this stuff. This was not my question.
My B. That's on me. Yeah, the reload mechanic, I don't know if it is as ironed out as I would like, but it's basically kind of steps through, and so I think let me pull it up. Now is it up?
Maybe.
There we go. Nope, and
slow.
there it went again.
It's very okay.
Wow.
No, it's gone.
What? Weird. It's probably just catching up or lagging to kind of fill the gap.
Yeah.
But it should be coming through.
I think it might be.
It's freezing
It's
a
real.
fair bit.
Yeah.
Rough. Well, I'll look into that on my end. If I'll watch the playback like I do for all these, and if it's having more issues than normal, then I'll look into it. I'm trying to hopefully get stuff replaced anyway, so it's not quite this terrible, and look into other options because Ninja has been rough for this many people. I do not think that it is optimized for this many video streams.
Dang.
Yeah. There's also a thing like with yours where your video lags behind your audio, and so we'll hear what you say and then we'll watch you say it.
Yeah. That's because my machine is running everything, and so sometimes whenever my entire machine lags, my video will lag out too.
Yep. You just got to build a second desktop. We have one.
Just
what
for
about
this.
second desktop?
That's where you take all the old parts from the main desktop, and guess what? Second desktop.
After I get done paying for my Hawaii trip and my wedding and my honeymoon, then maybe.
Understandable.
So what I'm hearing is we all need to get together and get you a dope-ass wedding gift.
I mean, I would say no. Okay. Well, we're right about 8:30. Anybody got any last questions before we wrap this up?
I'm good.
All right.
Yes, I not. Actually, I'll ask after the stream goes down for that. Never mind.
Okay.
Oh. Are you sure? I'm about to say, like, it's kind of an open forum.
Alright. Well, okay. Of everyone's opinion, would you prefer Sindri to be damage or defense build? 'Cause I'm still on the fence about it. I've been on the
Okay,
fence for
and
months.
who are you asking? Me, Adam, or me, Clyde? Because Clyde wants defensive, but Adam's probably for offensive. It's just going to be better.
Both Boko and Austin are completely against the offensive just because of the tendency to hit me.
I've only hit you once.
Okay, I'm gonna
killed him.
I'm gonna be honest. From Noah's perspective, I think either one would be super cool. Like, I would be interested to see how you did it.
I think both would be fun. It's just the issue is there's two options.
I'm not a good person to help you decide because I would love either one. But I will say from Thashawn's perspective, I mean a lot of my stuff's supposed to be like up front and protectorate. So like, it would be useful to have some damage to maybe like get rid of the guys before I have to tank like 15 hits.
Also, remember, we have 2 frontline fighters and 4 rear line support.
True.
So from Roland's perspective, there's only one way that he's ever going to pass you in damage. And that's if you stop doing it.
I'm also of the mind that Sindri and Boko are what we call prophylactic healers. What we do is we kill things so quickly they don't put damage down.
That's what I'm saying.
How's that
killing
work?
things.
You lose a limb trying that.
No. Killing things is damage mitigation. If all the enemies die, then you're gonna get all the damage.
Yeah, it's also the most
Avoid the
efficient
bad guy
stealth.
at all times and let your party members do all the damage.
Eh?
I still want to build a barbarian build that's stealth based. I'd like to roll intimidation for stealth. Excuse me?
You don't see me. Okay.
You don't see.
Turn the fuck around!
See anything?
Did you see me? If you did, I'll have to kill you. No. Huh, this is a surprisingly empty, completely empty and unsuspicious room here.
Nope, didn't see the big scary man with the bloody axe. Nope, nothing here. Gonna shut this door, go home.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Wick. Why don't you take the night off? Yes, Mr. Wick.
Exactly.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, we'll
God
go
damn it,
ahead.
that actually is a perfect example of like intimidation for stealth.
Yes.
Just take the night off. Yes, Mr. Wick. God
All
damn
right.
it.
With that, we'll go ahead and wrap up the table talks for this one. We'll have another one, I think, here in about a month once we hit our May break. But please join us in next week when we'll tackle on Port Crez. I'm super excited about it. There's a bunch of cool stuff happening, so please tune in for that one. And we'll see you next time.